Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because, having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him. From the book of James, chapter 1, verse 12. In a world where burdens can feel heavier than bodies can carry, this truth reminds us that even in seasons of lack, hardship, and quiet suffering, God draws near to those who feel unseen and forgotten. In a small town where dirt roads stretched between rice fields and wooden homes, lived a young boy named Elias. His world was simple. Early morning chores, long walks to school, and afternoons helping his mother weave baskets for extra income. Life was not easy for him, even at his young age that he understood the weight of responsibility. Yet, beneath that weight lived a quiet resilience, the kind only hardship could shape. Among the many challenges Elias faced, one stood out each day. He did not own a proper pair of shoes. While other children walked confidently in their worn but sturdy footwear, Elias relied on borrowed shoes from a kind neighbor. They were too big, scratched, and almost falling apart. But they were all he had, and he treated them with care every single day. Every morning, long before sunrise, Elias slipped into the oversized shoes that barely clung to his feet. He stuffed old newspaper at the front so they would not fall off, then walked the long path to school, feeling stones press sharply beneath the thin soles. As he walked, other children passed him easily, their steps light and fast. Elias, however, paced slowly, carefully, mindful not to damage the shoes. The neighbor who lent them trusted him, and Elias wanted to be worthy of that trust. At school, he always sat quietly, listening, absorbing every lesson. He dreamed of helping his family rise from poverty, and he believed education was the only path that might make that dream possible. In silent determination, he embraced each day despite the glaring reminder of his lack. The path home was harder. The afternoon sun beat down. The shoes grew heavier with sweat and dust. But Elias pushed forward. He knew his mother was waiting with baskets that needed weaving, and that every coin earned mattered. Along the way, he sometimes noticed children playing, running freely, laughing loudly, chasing each other without the fear of tripping or tearing the shoes on their feet. Elias wished for that freedom, even for a moment, but he kept walking, reminding himself that some dreams begin with sacrifice before reward. Though he felt tired, his heart held a quiet flame, a belief that all hardships were temporary chapters in a story God was still writing. One rainy afternoon, as Elias walked home through muddy roads, the worn sole of one borrowed shoe finally separated. The sudden rip startled him. Mud seeped through, chilling his foot. He knelt and held the shoe in his hands, trying to press it back together. But the damage was too much. For a moment, discouragement washed over him. He felt the weight of shame, worry, and helplessness. These shoes were not even his, and now they were ruined. He imagined the disappointment of the neighbor who trusted him. But as he sat in the rain, another thought slowly entered his heart. God sees the broken places, even when no one else does. With a deep breath, Elias stood, carried the torn shoe, and made his way home barefoot through the thick mud, feeling both the sting of hardship and the push of hope that somehow things would not always be this way. The next morning, Elias returned the damaged shoes with honesty and trembling hands. He expected frustration or disappointment. Instead, the neighbor quietly nodded and placed a gentle hand on his shoulder, offering reassurance without words. Later that afternoon, something unexpected happened. A local teacher who had long noticed Elias's diligence and quiet perseverance arrived at their small home carrying a box. Inside was a brand new pair of sturdy shoes, ones that fit perfectly, ones that would last him for years. Elias felt overwhelmed. He had never owned something new, not once. And now, a pair of shoes, simple to others, but life-changing to him, felt like a divine reminder that God sees every struggle, every tear, every unnoticed effort. Sometimes, blessings arrive not in abundance, but in perfect timing. From that day forward, Elias walked to school with a renewed spirit. The new shoes did more than protect his feet. They strengthened his confidence, brightened his days, and reminded him that even the smallest acts of kindness can change a life. He studied harder, helped his mother more eagerly, and carried himself with gratitude for all that he had, and even more for all he still believed was possible. As the years passed, his determination never faded. The memory of the borrowed shoes, the ripped sole, and the unexpected kindness became pillars of his character. He learned that struggles are not signs of abandonment, but invitations to trust deeper. Elias's story is the story of many, those who grow up with lack, who walk long roads with tired feet, who carry dreams bigger than their circumstances. The borrowed shoes represent the seasons of life when we have only just enough, when we rely on what is temporary, fragile, and borrowed. The torn shoes represent the moments when life becomes too heavy, when what we depend on breaks under pressure. The new shoes represent God's perfect timing, provision not always early, not always extravagant, but always enough. This story reminds us that God sees even the quietest struggles. That hardship does not mean abandonment. That kindness can rewrite someone's future. That every painful step can lead to purpose. Just like Elias, we all walk roads that test us, but every step, whether barefoot, stumbling, or weary, is known by God, and in time, He provides strength, support, and unexpected miracles to keep us moving forward. Because God never forgets the brokenhearted. He never overlooks the humble, and He never abandons those who keep walking, even when the road is long. Share this story with anyone you know who is struggling to make ends meet or facing hard times. And if you believe that God sees your struggles, provides for your needs, and will turn your challenges into blessings. Type Amen or declare it in the comments below.